Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, and this is a breakdown of Echo Episode 5 titled Maya. We made it to the finale. This is the final showdown. It's done after this. We last left off in Episode 4 with Fisk pissed that Maya didn't arrive on the plane, and his goons lost track of her. Maya left Oklahoma believing that it was the best option for herself and her family, and we're getting ready for the Choctaw Nation powwow. In this breakdown, we'll explore what Maya's powers are, if she killed the essence of Kingpin itself, and whether or not she's a mutant. No more mutants! But don't forget to check out nerdriot.shop, where right now you can find merch inspired by the Echo series, including a shirt featuring the big man himself and a shirt with Echo spelled out in ASL with bloody knuckles. Grabbing a piece of merch from Nerd Riot is a great way to support the channel. We open our final episode to a jingle dress song by the Northern Cree, then after the Marvel Spotlight logo, the drums increase, then abruptly stop to a peaceful view of the lake by Maya's house. We hear the infamous woodpecker pecking on the tree, then Maya shoots it with a slingshot, that little serial killer. She runs the woodpecker to her mom, who I couldn't help but notice keeps her beading set and a chess or checkers box. My mom leaves her sewing stuff literally in a drawer, so every time I reach into it, I stab myself. I think that's most moms. Her mom also has a turtle tattoo on her arm. Turtles, especially the snapping turtle that I flagged in episode 2, are sacred animals to many Native American tribes. Their connection to the earth and being resilient, protective, are old creatures, but this one also just belongs to the actress, so it could mean a lot of things or anything to her. It's just a gorgeous tattoo, and you know I love my tattoos. Then we reveal the half-dead woodpecker behind the blue bandana. Between the blue bandana, the blue colors for stickball, and the blue spiral, the color blue must mean something really important, but I could not find it. Flagging it here just in case someone wants to scream it at me. Then Maya's mom tells her of the woodpecker, also known as the Biskinic, the bird that tapped out messages on trees warning when enemies are approaching. I assume this was the same bird we've previously seen, but this one looks a little different from the one below Earth. The red part of its head is a little bit taller. Then Maya's mom crosses her fingers and we see her hands light up like Maya's, and she's healing the bird. This quickly cuts into a flashback from the car crash and us hearing the final beats of her heart. A woman who could heal the world just dies, and it's just sad. This flashback is also so significant because Maya is remembering a good memory and how easily that good memory can be overpowered by a traumatic event. Chola is checking to see if Scully has a sewing machine or maybe even one that she dropped off some years ago. It seems like she pawned it, and in episode 2 during the pre-planning to the powwow, the man mentions Chola not having a shop for a long time. After her daughter died, she did say it killed her inside, and that heartbreak probably threw Chola into a depression, unable to provide for herself or live off the bare necessities, so she just had to pawn it. Luckily, Scully kept it because he clearly still loves her. Then in the cutest interaction, he asked her to come back and visit every once in a while, and she promises. And it just makes me emotional. Then she says, until we meet again, and she's out. We know now Chola needs the sewing machine to make Maya's outfit for the powwow. Next, we see her at the post office, and lo and frickin' behold, Kingpin is there helping her. He's keeping eyes close on Maya's family and returning from the plane ready to start a war. It's sweet to know that Chola keeps up with ASL for Maya, and I bet that's what the entire family has been doing until she returns. Then we cut to Maya on her motorcycle. She's outside Roxxon Gas. Roxxon has made many appearances in the MCU. We see it in She-Hulk and the Corporation during the fight between Obadiah Stane and Tony Stark in the first Iron Man movie. It's just a massive oil and gas company in the comics and does a lot of illegal and shady shit most of the time. I love that Maya throws away the contact. It only is there to appease Fisk. He should have tried to learn all those years he's known her. He'd rather create an AI device than try. That shows that he's already a horrible dad or uncle, whatever the hell he wants to call himself. Then we cut to Biscuit, still alive, thank God, with Billy Jack handling vendor parking at the powwow. That's when Zane shows up. They're absolutely planning an ambush on the Choctaw Powwow. They're white men and they keep up this show. Then we cut to Maya, who ignores Biscuit's text until she notices the woodpecker who is delivering bad news. And once she realizes the woodpecker flies away, its job is done. She speeds back to Oklahoma, running with a gun in hand to Chola's house when she sees her mother. I think a lot of the art in this house is actually designed by this guy. I can't find the direct connection, but the art styles are very similar and he's credited in the credits. It could also be to commemorate him because he passed away not long ago in 2023. There's a painting behind Taloa of a woman in white, red, and black face paint that sort of resembles a person during the stickball game. Red symbolizes strength, black for the battle, white for peace and prosperity. Her mom uses her powers for healing to go back to the traumatic memory that Maya's been holding on to since the car accident. There, she tells her that she needs to let it go because she'll always be with her. So will her ancestors. The line won't stop at Echo, but she'll have to fight for her family like her ancestors did for her. God, I'm not gonna cry. Because I'm an idiot, I believe the powers translated so easily, and it's revealed that she's empowered by Loak's strategy, Tuklo's cunning, Chafa's ferocity, and her mom's love. We're still learning her powers alongside Maya. It's been mentioned by Chola and her mom that they come when they need help. So it's not like she'll be able to use it all the time, I imagine. Now, like, is she a mutant? In the comics, she also had the Phoenix Force, kinda. She was also just sort of a mimic. Though we're kind of straying away from that in the series, I don't think she's a mutant. I think it's more spiritual and cultural than having that hot X gene. But it's worth mentioning, if this is spiritual, she could wind up with Mephisto, Wanda, or Strange. So we might be seeing some metaphysical stuff in Born Again, but definitely in the Defenders, because Echo is now labeled under the Defenders category in Disney+, along with the Defenders saga officially going into the MCU timeline, which is good for them. I know you guys all wanted it, I wanted it, so I'm very happy about it. Not only does her costume continue to have the sun rays, but this time they beam across the suit. And I'll be honest, when you see an Easter egg so often, you forget to mention it. The circle rays on Echo's coat and her dad's neck are from the comics. It's her original outfit. Duh, Jessica, I completely forgot. The shoulders have traditional Choctaw designs, the full diamonds for the diamondback rattlesnake, the spirals on the shoulder pads, the traditional hand-eye symbol represents the religious beliefs and cosmologies of the different historic tribes, all for Maya. Then we're back to the powwow, and this booth, that's a real shop. This is Dancing Bear Indian Trader. The outfits during this scene are incredible and beautiful, and I know you guys see it. The folks involved, especially during the powwow, are a lot of native Choctaw people and the Choctaw cultural team that was working closely with Marvel to make sure this was all as authentic as possible. Remember how I mentioned the Choctaw Princess pageant flyer from the first episode? Well, that's the District 9 Junior Princess, just a beautiful group of people. Then we begin the festivities, not just the powwow, but the Black Knife Cartel ready to kill everyone there. Here they come again, the white men, the Noholos, just up this episode. Powwows have a well-respected structure to them. We begin the events with what's called the Grand Entry, which begins with the flag bearers. They usually have the traditional eagle staff. The eagle staff represents the importance of honoring and recognizing the relationship and spiritual connection to the land that the First Nations hold in their hearts. They also carry the United States flag, in this case the Choctaw Nation Warrior flag and the POW MIA flags. Then there would be the important guests like the royalty, tribal chiefs, or the elders that come next, and in that group is our girl Maya. After her would be the men dancers, then the women dancers, and then the children. You know what's beautiful? The way that it's silent again, but instead of the single heartbeat, we get many synchronized heartbeats with the drum, and it's because she's not alone anymore. This is her family. She must protect them. It's a unit. God, this show gets me crazy. I love my family. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. A new year is a great excuse for finally tackling stuff you put off last year. And if one of those things you've been putting off until 2024 is taking proper care of your mental health, BetterHelp can help you get started. And hey, no judgment for waiting. I waited forever. Starting therapy can be hard. The right therapist for you may not be in your area, and some people struggle with face-to-face interactions of therapy. Your girl does. With BetterHelp, you can have your therapy sessions as a phone call or a video chat or even via messaging if you prefer that. Whatever's the most comfortable version of therapy for you. Just click the link in the description and answer a few questions about what you're looking for from therapy and what your preferences are. BetterHelp will then match you with a therapist from their network that's right for you. If you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a therapist for no additional cost without stressing about insurance or who's in your network or anything like that. If you think you might benefit from therapy, consider BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/newrockstars. Clicking that link helps support this channel, and it helps you get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And then we get a glimpse of Zane preparing to ruin everything and pulling up a Yeti cooler to the top of his RV. Maya notices the woodpecker and follows the message. Once everyone enters the field or the area of the Grand Entry, we get an overhead shot of them forming a spiral and moving in a counterclockwise rotation. I mentioned this in the first breakdown that the Choctaw dance shows reference to the creator by moving in a counterclockwise rotation. Henry pulls up fast on the phone with Biscuit, and Biscuit says this.
But there's some creepy guy here, and he brought a whole bunch of Noholos in, and I don't know, man, they're up to no good, I know it.
As we mentioned in episode 2, Noholos means white people, and let me tell you, Biscuit's got some good quips about them this episode.
Not today, Noholos! Not today!
Maya wanders into the barn to find Kingpin, who has both Bonnie and Chola captive. Also, was it just me, or did anyone else notice in the background the light drop gesture on Bonnie and Chola, like he's doing this for a stage show? I like this scene with Bonnie translating for Maya and Kingpin. Clearly, when she threw away her contact, it also lost her tracker. So they lost track of Maya, but they knew she'd come back to save her family. Dastardly plan, demon-esque plan, but that's Kingpin. Kingpin tries to manipulate her again like he didn't betray her first, and forces Bonnie to translate how he's going to kill her family, which is up and a real Kingpin move. When Zane gets the go-ahead to kill everyone, he opens his cooler and we see a rocket for a rocket launcher or a rocket grenade, whatever the hell. Also a Capri Sun, a Kool-Aid Burst, Fresca, Mellow Yellow, and a little bit more for when he's parched after killing a bunch of people. Back to Kingpin reacting like a child who doesn't get his way. He orders his goons to sucker punch Echo, and I'm sure Bonnie was too stunned hearing how she's about to die to translate this, but also she got her lick back from the 3rd episode. I'm just saying, I'm never gonna forget that lick. Then at this moment, Maya's ancestors begin to echo through her. Ready to help him be channeled, her mom says Echo and she gets her name. Say what you will, but when the characters in the MCU get their name, I'm like, yeah! I just like it. Her ancestors stand behind her, which reminds me of the Phoenix song comic where Echo has bonded with the Phoenix Force and it's chosen her because it's been part of a long line of her ancestors. Tucklow has a rabbit stick and gun, is still repping the warrior braids. Lowak is still wearing her red paint. Her full suit is pretty badass. I love the diamonds, the sun, and forearm guards. Kind of reminds me of Shang-Chi. I know her outfit represents a lot of traditional Choctaw clothing, but it also looks like a piece of all of her ancestors. Lowak's red forearms, Tucklow's belt, her mom's necklace is reminiscent of the buckle in the sun. Then Chafra from the first episode matches the bird symbol of the tattoo. Echo has the same bird beaded markings on the costume near her shoulder. She's already had a piece of them the entire time. Maya then shares her powers with her grandma and cousin, and they blow through the goons. So the ancestors can pass it down, but also Echo can distribute it within her family or just the bloodline. Then we get the monster truck scene that we saw from the trailer that turns out to actually be their grandma's truck that Biscuit remodeled. He's currently running over the Noholos, and I'm sure he killed them all. While Bonnie, Echo, and Chola are kicking ass, Henry shoots Zane before he sets off the explosion on the powwow. Family protecting family. Then, like Maya's mom does to Echo, Echo goes into the mind of Kingpin to relieve him of his torture trauma. This reminds me of the last episode when he's screaming at her with the hammer, "Free you! Free me!" She has, just in a more, socially conscious way, and he's clearly not used to that treatment. Inside Kingpin's abusive memory, he's in his little room with a New York Yankees sign. I think he has a bunny poster on the wall, and if that's not a call out to the rabbit of a snowstorm, I don't know what is. The walls are painted and chipped like the wall his dad forced him to stare at while he physically beat his mom. It wasn't in the bedroom, but in the living room, and the audio is voiced by different people than the actors we saw in Daredevil. Maya relieves Kingpin of the trauma connected to that memory. That memory is why he carries the cufflinks, the hammer, the rage, and the anger. Without that, I think we just have a big lug walking around. It would make sense as to why he's so mad after she's done it. He's lived with that anger his entire life, and now that it's gone, that what fuels that passion to create a better world or to fix everything? And also, I don't think it's necessarily fully gone. He wanted to live with it. He was just shocked that she got into his mind. During that montage of Kingpin's life, we see some new images of young Maya calling Wilson uncle, and then we get a shot of the Kingpin from the original Netflix Daredevil series. Kingpin freaks out and dips before the cops arrive, and then we cut to the lake at Maya's house in the flashback. Maya and her mom release the woodpecker, who is fully healed and flies away. Her ancestors must have been watching her from that day going forward. On top of the roof, we listen to the same song, When We Remain by Samantha Jo Crane, the same song that played after Henry agreed to help Maya in episode 3. A song written in the Choctaw language, a song that the writer said, "I wanted to write a Choctaw version of something like the old protest song, We Shall Overcome, something we could sing through our hardships and into our victories and survival as a lasting tribe of people," which in summary is a great song to conclude the show to, as Echo has overcome a lot. Fisk, regret, and rage to find peace in herself and her family. She starts imagining old memories, her mom and dad, Scully and Chola, the hand shadows with Bonnie. Maya takes her bike to Chola's where Biscuit, Bonnie, and Henry sit listening to his story. Maya arrives to visit. We don't know if she's staying there or not. I want to assume she does, but I like how this ends, kind of like She-Hulk, both families just enjoying a barbecue. Then we see Fisk, still traumatized. He's on his private plane going back to New York. They say they must stabilize the situation before it spirals out of control. Then we get a news report from Patrick Kiernan of New York 1. He's appeared also in the first Avengers movie, Hawkeye, Spider-Man Far From Home, but also Daredevil, The Defenders, and The Punisher. The other host is Errol Lewis of New York 1 as well. So remember how I was like, Fisk is doing this all because of his dad? His mission in Daredevil was allegedly to clean up the city. He believed he was doing the right thing even at the expense of doing everything illegal and completely wrong. So these key sentences, the voters want somebody who's a fighter, legit problems in the city, and voters want somebody who understands their pain, a bare-knuckled brawler. This is completely set up for Kingpin to run for mayor, and we get Mayor Fisk's Charles Soule comic storyline. This is the storyline for Daredevil Born Again, and it'll be the political versus illegal showdown. Imagine that. Kingpin becomes mayor of New York and starts a war against vigilantes. The Defenders, Spider-Man, they'd be donezo. And that's it for my entire breakdown on Marvel's newest and first Marvel Spotlight show, Echo. I like the idea of Marvel Spotlights, especially if it's like this. It allows the audience to sit back because the stakes are not as high, and luckily it's more grounded. At the same time, the creatives get the sandbox to make whatever they want. Did I love the cultural representation? Of course I did, 1000%. You guys know me. The attention to detail, the work, and the time put in were absolutely outstanding. I learned so much from this series, and I love learning this way. I think my only quarrels, which are like the tiniest notes, were in the pacing. We didn't really get enough time to blow out the rest of the family, see what she did between New York and Oklahoma, and would have loved to really see Maya. I know her beautiful history and what molded her values, but I really haven't seen Echo independent yet. I think it has great bones. Actually, no, I think it's good. I think it's fine. It should have just cooked a little bit more. I wish it would have got like 2 more episodes on top of its 5. Regardless, like Black Panther was to me, this series is for and represents a lot of other folks, and I want to highlight how important it is to see yourself in media, and who wouldn't want to see a badass Native American superhero roundhouse a full den of goons. Though I have notes, doesn't mean I don't like Echo. I will always love Maya Lopez, and I can't wait to see her show up in the Defenders. With that being said, I'm done. I'm out. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lulu_Clemons. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you later.